affecting my game experience. This is the first time I've ever broadcast something, and there's like, it's like watching the screen. The screen's all small. I just died.
This
Thanks for watching.
Place can't be the end of the road.
Is there a way I can like
for you out there.
make the screen bigger? Share button, then select. Okay, guess not. Okay, I guess it's just a sacrifice I have to make. So it's Sunday. I've had coffee. And I've been thinking about future stuff. So, earlier, I was thinking, like, if I had absolute power, you know, like the power to do whatever I wanted in the world, what would I do? What would a typical day for me look like? And the first thing I pictured was having, or being able to fly whenever I wanted to. I don't mean like a superpower. I mean, like, hop on an airplane anytime I wanted to and just go wherever I wanted. Free of cost, always a guaranteed seat. I could literally just go to the airport and be like, hey, what's about to leave? And they'd be like, oh, we've got this flight to Montana. And I'd be like, okay, I guess I'll go to Montana. And then if I got bored, I would go somewhere else. But that's what I would do. The power to, the power to just travel anytime I wanted to. I guess it would go without saying that would, well, I don't know. I don't know if I would want to have unrestricted access to, like, dining and drinking and stuff, because I think it would get heavy real fucking quick. Especially if I'm going to be sitting on an airplane all the time. So, there would be some restrictions on diet or whatever, but anyway, but that was the very first thing I thought of. If I had, you know, our, you know, total freedom, like financial freedom or authority or whatever, I would just be this guy that travels all the freaking time. Ugh. Fuck you. Anyway, yeah. So I was thinking, like, you know, what job would require constant travel? But the thing is, I wouldn't want it to be a job. So my first thought was, well, maybe I could be a pilot. And then I started thinking, like, what if it was required of everyone to get their pilot's license? Like, what if pilot licenses were as common as driver's licenses? What if you, in order to get a license, okay, how about this? What if a driver's license was like, you know, a deluxe package deal where you have to be able to, you have to know how to drive a car, motorcycle, fly a helicopter, plane, tank. Basically, in order to get a license, you have to, in this imaginary future I'm imagining, you would have to be able to know how to drive everything. And I guess that would be unfortunate in my case because I would have to learn how to drive stick, I guess. But actually in this future there's no more manual transmission, so we'll get on to it. But, so anyway,
Madness.
oh, he's dead. God damn it. Oh, you fucked up! Shit. I fucked up. Okay, I'm almost about to die, so I gotta get him with this last. Fuck you! Oh, so close. Shit! Learn to enjoy losing. But this game is great, by the way. This is FURi. It was on Video Game Donkey's Best of 2017 list. And basically, all it is boss fights. There's no henchmen, there's no, you know, the only thing you have to do between boss fights is just walk to an area, which I've heard that's a common complaint, and that's basically how you get the exposition, and there's no way to skip it, but I guess it's a small price to pay. I mean, if nothing else, you could beat the boss, hit X to auto-walk, and then, you know, go brush your teeth or something. But, anywho, back to what I was saying earlier. All these thoughts about how we travel, I guess, started, I became, I don't know, kind of got focused on that for a second. And I was thinking at one point, I was like, what if I just learned how to fly a plane and then bought a plane and like had my own like private jet, and I would be like Harrison Ford just flying everywhere. I don't know, I don't think he actually does that, but I know he flies. But I think he flies a helicopter. Anyway, ooh, that was good. Look, yeah, it kind of lagged. Oh,
This hellhole place can't be the end of the road.
And this is one of those rare games where I don't mind losing. Unlike a lot of games, I feel like if this were handled differently, it would piss me off and I would just want to put it up. And there was this, the second boss did start getting to me, like, I was like, man, fuck this, I need to take a break from it. And that's all I need to do. But, of course, I'm not that huge of a gamer. I grew up on jumping games like Mario, and yeah. So I mean, I'm sure there's a bunch of sword fighting games. This is like the best sword game I've ever played. I'm sure there's like, I think there's a game called Dynasty Warriors or Shinobi, or I don't know. Like, there are games where you play a ninja and all you do is cut people up. I just really like that. I like the whole parry system, and I wish there was like a Force Unleashed 2 on PS2 was great. I could play as Admiral Akbar. I had an orange lightsaber, and every time before I would activate the force push, I'd be like, "It's a trap!" That was a lot of fun. But anyway, yeah, I was thinking about modes of transportation and all this stuff, and like where I would travel. And then I started thinking about, like, you know, when I live in California now. I used to live in Little Rock, and one of my main dreams was to travel to Portland. Mostly because of the show Portlandia. I had this romanticized, you know, vision of it in my head. But all I would picture myself doing there, I would just be in a bar somewhere drinking wine. Not in a sad, depressed way or anything, but, you know, having fun. Because I guess when you're an out-of-towner sitting at a bar, it makes more sense? I don't know. Point is, like, I would always feel self-conscious about going into a big, fancy bar in Little Rock, like, Flying Saucer alone. It's like, you know, in this fantasy, it was excusable because I was an out-of-towner and didn't know anybody. When really I was in the Little Rock situation, I was from town and I didn't know anybody. I mean, I knew people, but I didn't have like a regular bar hopping crowd in the, I don't know. But, shit. Fuck you. your pals. Yeah, come on. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so I guess the conclusion I came to was that if you feel comfortable with yourself, you should be able to like just go into a bar and anytime you want to, regardless of whether you're with somebody or not, just go in there and chill. Like bring a fucking book. And I have done that a few times here in California in Temecula, and I actually really enjoyed myself. Like I brought a book, read like 100 pages while sipping a beer, and I stayed there for like 2 hours doing this, and it was great. And today I did a safer version of that. I went to a coffee shop and read for a while. That was fun. I don't know. It's like I am my own worst enemy when it comes to being social. Anyway, yesterday I bought a Blade Runner 2049, and I really liked it in theaters, but it's one of those my IMAX 5D showings. What that means, it's I'll go to a restaurant beforehand, have 3 drinks and lunch, and then I'll go see the movie, a 2D movie with 3 drinks in my system, 5D. 2 dimensions, 3 drinks. So, Blade Runner was one of those things I've had, like, I think for that one I actually did, like, beer. Usually I do, like, a double tequila sunrise. Ooh. You get the block just right, you get a hell of a parry. But anyway, here we go. Oof. I love this game. Anyway, so I watched Blade Runner 2049 again last night, sober, and really enjoyed it. Like, I've been craving seeing this movie again. I almost want to go see it twice. Not just because I was drunk the first time I saw it, but it really is a visually stunning movie. And like that was a opinion I held despite reservations the first time I watched it. But I don't know, I just wanted to see it again because I remember feeling like the story was too small or something, and that at least the first Blade Runner set up this big world, that Blade Runner 2049 had like a smaller story. And I actually think it's the opposite now. That the first Blade Runner, for one thing, the first Blade Runner focused on the wrong character. Roy Batty should have been the main character. He was the most interesting. Harrison Ford should have been the bad guy. So maybe, I mean, I'm glad the way the movie exists as it does, because it inspired, countless filmmakers, and, we got 2049, so definitely worth it. But I can't help wondering, like, if Harrison Ford was Ray Batty and Rutger Hauer was if Rutger Hauer was Deckard, I don't know. And then you wouldn't get the Tears and Rain speech. Anyway, so 2049, visually stunning. The story made a lot more sense this time, and plus 2, subtitles makes a huge difference. Or subtitles make a huge difference. What does it make? I don't care. I'm editing myself while I speak. Anyway, what was I gonna say? It's kind of hard to do this and talk to this. I don't know how people do it. Probably because it's scripted. What was I saying? So, anyway, 2049, yeah. I appreciated it a lot more. Story made more sense. The thing I was going to say about subtitles, I think I read somewhere back in the day that microphones weren't as good as they are today. God, I can't even form myself. In the old days, microphones on movie sets were not as good. So the actors would have to project more. They would have to announce themselves and stuff like that. Now you got Gary Oldman in the Dark Knight movies, fucking mumbling the whole fucking time. You can't understand a goddamn thing he's saying because people on set can hear him just fine. But some movies you've got to have subtitles. God damn it, it's gonna kill me now. So see, I'm not mad. So anyway, there are movies that have been released in the last few years that I've enjoyed much more at home. Shit. Well, I'm dead. Am I?
This hellhole place can't be the end.
For example, I watched Alien Covenant again last week, and God, that movie was like 10 times better. I can actually understand what Michael Fassbender was saying. He was making all these little quick remarks, just like Harrison Ford was in 2049. He was saying like when he first sees Ryan Gosling, he's all like, "You wouldn't happen to have some cheese about you, wouldn't you?" Or something like that. Wait, some quote from Treasure Island. But in the theater, I was like, "The fuck he just say?" Of course, I was drunk too, but but a lot of movies are anyway. Long story short. A lot of movies nowadays, it sounds like the actors are fucking mumbling. So, I'm starting to really reconsider my approach to moviegoing. I mean, for example, Paul Thomas Anderson's latest movie is out. It's The Phantom Thread, supposedly Daniel Day-Lewis's last movie. And I like DDL, alright, but I mostly just want to see it because I really like Inherent Vice and The Master and Paul Thomas Anderson's other movies. It has nothing to do with Daniel Day-Lewis. But anyway, I have a feeling like that movie, I think I will really enjoy that a lot more at home. Now, I watched Inherent Vice in theaters and enjoyed it. But that's because I kind of knew going in that I was going to like it because Joaquin Phoenix is just, sometimes I can just look at him and start laughing. So part of that was because it was funny. I mean, I did appreciate more of the dialogue when I saw it at home. But like, I didn't see The Master in theaters, and I think if I had seen The Master in theaters, I would have been like, like not being able to hear what the fuck they're saying. So, like, even though I really want to see Phantom Thread in theaters, I don't know, man. I might have to wait till home video. Which makes me kind of think that maybe, man, this is not exactly an original thought, but I really think that movies movie theaters are on the way out. Like, you get a good enough TV set up at home, and you're not gonna want to deal with fucking people at the theater, like, eating a fucking, almost said a Pillsbury steak and cheese. Philly steak and cheese. Like, people just will eat the most random shit in theaters. I think I was sitting beside one person in a theater one time. They were eating like a fucking, I don't know what that was. It was like a fucking enchilada plate. Anyway, or I think it was a baked potato, or I don't know. But it seems like the only time I really enjoy a movie in theaters is if I'm like drunk, which is what IMAX 5D is all about, or if I'm with some, friends who also like movies. So like Inherent Vice was like a natural movie to go see on a buddy jet. But Phantom Thread? I don't know. I think that's gonna be one that can wait for video, but that's what I was about to say. Like, I kind of wish, I know that Steven Soderbergh has done this, he did this with one of his movies, the same day it was released in theaters, it was also released digitally, so you could actually screen it from home for like the full price. I would, if I had the option to watch Phantom Thread right now on my TV for 15 bucks, I would do it. Like, take my fucking digital money, shit. And just do theater showings as like special engagements or for big Disney movies or something like that. Like, because I mean, I know parents take their kids to movies, right? But is that an actual fun experience? Like, I remember going to see Jurassic Park in theaters. I remember going to see Terminator 2 in theaters, which is, you know, it's kind of weird to think about now. That movie was rated R, but had toys. Now, was that actually a fun experience, though? Was going to the movies a fun experience? Because if I was a parent, right? I don't know if I would trust taking my kids to a theater where some freak in the back could start, you know, I don't want to get too graphic, but I don't know. Can't trust nobody. But you know what I mean? I don't know. I don't know what the fuck I'm saying. Suddenly loud as fuck outside. Ooh, he's dead. Oh, you bastard. Okay, watch me get him. Fuck you! Shit! God damn it. Let's say I say god damn it, but I'm actually not that mad. This is actually a pretty fun game here. So I think this video is streaming on YouTube and Facebook. Yeah, if I'm not mistaken. I have no idea. I'm just bored. I highly doubt I'll have anything controversial to say. So I'm not really worried about saying the wrong things or whatever. But anyway, what was I saying? Oh, so long story short, I'm in favor of getting rid of big theater chains, release movies digitally, and yeah. If you want to go see a theater, hell, no, not drive-through. I've never been to a drive-through theater, so I can't speak to its quality. But, I don't know. I shouldn't have to get drunk to enjoy a movie at the theater. I feel like that's part of the main reason I do IMAX 5D showings. You're dead. You piece of shit. Yeah. He did. Somebody was watching him in the other room. Yeah, I'm looking at the right of the screen. I saw, like, it says 0 right now, and it was saying, like, so I don't know if I'm streaming on Facebook, YouTube, and the Sony Network. I don't know. I really don't know. Don't know, don't care. Shit. So what else was I thinking about earlier? Oh, so I think, I don't want to say a long story short again. I said that earlier. I thought it would have been cool. Would it be cool if, like, everyone was required to get a pilot's license? Because it used to be kind of like a meme, like, you know, where are the flying cars? Well, why are you complaining about not having a flying car when you don't even have a pilot's license? Ooh, yeah. See that?
I am near. Brace yourself.
Embrace yourself. Obi-Wan Kenobi. Obi-Wan. Well, that's a name I've not heard in a long time. A long time. You know? Well, of course I know him as me. Haven't gone by the name Obi-Wan since before you were born. I love doing Obi-Wan Kenobi impressions. It makes me sad that, Alec Guinness, is that his name? Yeah, Alec Guinness, did not like, I think there's like a famous story about like this kid saw Alec Guinness in public and was like, got all excited and like wanted his autograph and stuff like that. And Alec Guinness, in like the most dickish move possible, he was all like, Star Wars sucks, you're wasting your time on dribble, or some shit like that. It was really a pessimistic thing to say, especially to a kid. But I've seen like cut scenes from like the original Star Wars, you know, before it was edited, and like as awkward as some of the dialogue was in the movie, apparently it could have been a lot worse. Like Harrison Ford was quoted as saying, "You can type this up, but you sure as shit can't say it," or something like that. But I'm wondering, like, as far as Alec Guinness was concerned, the movie that was made was the movie, like, he read those cheesy lines. He, you know, during the duel with Darth Vader, he had some kind of line that went like, "If your blade finds its mark," some shit like that. And like, thank God, like, the editor on that thing was like on their A game. I think it was his wife that edited it, or I don't know. But anyway, Star Wars was so close to being a really, really shitty movie that everyone makes fun of. It could have been like Troll 2 or The Room. But George Lucas surrounded himself with really good collaborators, so it just goes to show you, sometimes you can't do things alone. Like, I don't think you could do a movie alone. Like, it's one thing to like sculpt something or draw a picture or write a book. But hell, even writing a book, you need, you know, people to look at it, you need people to read it. But for a movie, I mean, yeah, you definitely need collaborators, and that's why that brings me to good old Christopher Nolan. While I was watching Blade Runner, I was imagining what it would look like if Christopher Nolan directed it. And for one thing, it wouldn't be as pretty, for damn sure. Because, okay, like, I'm not saying that there are no good shots in Christopher Nolan movies. All of his movies have at least that one really good visual. Like, in Dark Knight, the one that comes to mind is when Joker's in the back of a cop car and his head's out the window. Like, that's a really good little moment there. And, you know, just, there's little shots here and there. But, like, I don't know, it's like, especially like his early stuff, like Batman Begins. Watching that movie gives me a fucking headache because, like, he does these quick cuts. And I read somewhere that he doesn't have, like, a second DP or second DP team, or I don't really know much on the filmography term thingies. But there's, basically what the impression I got was that while he does, obviously it's a movie, so he collaborates with people, but not as much as he should be. Like, I think Christopher Nolan is a good writer. I'm kind of wondering, for instance, like, what would a Christopher Nolan movie, how would a Christopher Nolan movie be if someone else directed it and he wrote the script? Like, as far as I know, all of his movies he's written the script for them, so he's, like, in total control. Which is admirable, but that isn't necessarily a, you know, recipe for success. I mean, I would say that, you know, Tarantino's a great writer and a great director. But I think even in the case of Tarantino, well, I don't know, he doesn't, I don't feel like Tarantino tries to do like stylistic flourishes or anything like that. There's something about Christopher Nolan that's off to me. I don't know what it is. I don't put my finger on it. Maybe it is the writing. But like, even a movie like Dark Knight, even though there's a lot of good stuff there, a lot of it does feel bloated. I mean, I was watching it like 2 weeks ago or so. And there's that, the classic scene where Joker's in the jail cell and Batman shows up behind him and slams his head into the table. And Joker's all like, "You never start with the head, the victim gets all fuzzy, you can't feel the next." And Batman slams his hand. Joker looks at it in a second and he's like, "See?" Like, what was the point of that scene? Was that supposed to be funny? Like, it looks so awkward for Batman to just punch the Joker's hand. Like, what was the point of that? It's almost like he was flirting with him or some shit. I don't know. It was weird. But like, I never hear that kind of thing getting brought up. And it just makes Batman look like a dick. But I guess he couldn't just, suddenly... I don't know. There's something off about that
This
scene.
hellhole place can't be the end of the road. Remember
He slammed Joker's
waiting
head
for you
down on the
out
table.
there.
And then he sat across from him. Like, why sit down? If you're so intense, then why sit down? I don't know. I think I'm tired of talking now. Yep, I'm just gonna be awkward and stop